Have you ever felt overwhelmed by commitments you didn't want to take on, or perhaps by people who demand more than you can give, but you feel you can't say no? In today's video, we're going to talk about a simple but immensely transformative power, the power of saying no. Number 1, the importance of setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is one of the fundamental pillars of a healthy, balanced, and respected life. Many people throughout their lives end up forgetting that having boundaries is not selfish, but a necessity for preserving mental, emotional, and even physical health. When you don't set clear boundaries, you start to overload yourself, wear yourself out, and over time become a victim of emotional manipulation and disrespect. Boundaries are not rigid barriers, but rather tools that help you define what you will and will not accept, creating a safe space for you to live according to your own values and needs. Furthermore, when you don't set boundaries in your life, you cease to be the protagonist of your own story and become controlled by others. People notice the lack of boundaries and start asking for more than you can give, which can lead to resentment and frustration. Setting boundaries means understanding your rights and responsibilities and recognizing them as an essential part of your well-being. True freedom and power come precisely from control over what you allow in your life. By allowing yourself to say no firmly, you are not only protecting your time, but also ensuring the respect of others. Therefore, setting boundaries is not only a matter of self-protection, but also of self-respect, allowing you to conduct your relationships in a healthy and constructive way. Number 2, the fear of saying no. Fear of rejection and loss of approval. The fear of saying no is one of the biggest emotional blocks that many people face, and it is one of the main reasons why they become prisoners of other people's expectations. This fear is closely linked to the fear of rejection and the need for approval. From childhood, we are conditioned to please others in order to be accepted and validated, creating a strong emotional dependence on the opinions of others. This creates a constant feeling of guilt whenever we think about refusing a request or an imposed expectation. The fear of rejection makes us believe that by saying no, we are disappointing someone, losing their affection, or even jeopardizing our social position. This mindset makes us feel inadequate or undesirable if we cannot meet the needs and desires of others. However, this relentless pursuit of approval can be destructive because in trying to please everyone, we end up neglecting our own needs, desires, and well-being. The fear of saying no is also related to the fear of conflict. The idea that by refusing a request we are creating animosity or damaging a relationship creates a lot of tension. However, this ignorant and submissive approach is detrimental not only to our emotional health, but also to the relationships themselves, as they become unbalanced, with one side always giving in. Saying no is an act of courage and self-assertion, because by doing so, we make it clear that our peace and boundaries are priorities, and that respect for our individuality is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Number 3, how to say no effectively. Saying no effectively is an essential skill for anyone who wants to set healthy boundaries and maintain respect in relationships without resorting to confrontation or misunderstanding. The key to an effective no is assertiveness, which involves communicating your needs clearly, firmly, and respectfully without feeling guilty or pressured. Unlike the passive no that often sounds hesitant and weakens your position, the assertive no conveys confidence and control while maintaining respect for the other person. The first tip is to be direct and clear, avoiding beating around the bush or excessive justifications that can make no sound more like an excuse. For example, instead of saying, "I'd love to help, but I'm busy with a lot of things right now," Just say, "I can't take that on at the moment." Simplicity and clarity are powerful. Another strategy is to use no with empathy. You can show understanding for the other person's request while reaffirming your own limits. Saying something like, "I understand that this is important to you, but I can't help right now," helps soften the rejection without losing your firmness. In addition, offering alternatives can be a way to politely decline without appearing insensitive. For example, "I can't help you with that, but maybe someone else can." This creates a space for the other person to still feel supported, even without your direct help. Finally, practicing no in small, everyday situations helps strengthen your ability to decline effectively and without guilt. The more you practice, the more natural and comfortable it will become, and you will begin to realize that saying no is an act of self-care that should be celebrated, not feared. Number 4. The benefits of saying no. Saying no consciously and assertively brings a number of transformative benefits to your personal and professional life. One of the main benefits is the preservation of time and energy. By saying no, you are protecting your personal space, preventing yourself from becoming overwhelmed with tasks, commitments, or expectations that are not yours, and, as a result, you stay focused on the priorities that really matter to you. By refusing requests or responsibilities that do not align with your goals, you have more time to focus on your personal growth and the activities that truly align with your values. In addition, saying no establishes mutual respect. People begin to realize that you have limits and that your time and resources are valuable. This does not mean being selfish, but rather exercising your right to decide how and with whom you spend your time. As a result, those who respect your limits also respect your position and your choices, creating more balanced and healthy relationships. Another significant benefit of knowing how to say no is increased self-confidence. When you feel comfortable asserting your boundaries, you begin to realize that you don't need everyone's approval to be happy and successful. This empowerment comes from understanding that you are worthy of respect and that by protecting your own needs, you are exercising control over your life in a healthy way. Saying no can also improve your interpersonal relationships. By refusing to do something you don't want to do or can't do, you avoid accumulated resentment and frustration, which often arise when we give in out of fear of displeasing others. This type of open and honest communication tends to create greater trust between people, as everyone understands that they are dealing with someone who has the ability to assert themselves in a constructive way. Therefore, saying no is not a sign of weakness or rejection, but rather of strength, self-awareness, and respect for one's own choices. Number 5. Overcoming guilt. Overcoming guilt when saying no is one of the biggest challenges for those learning to set boundaries. Guilt often arises because we have been conditioned to believe that by denying someone something, we are failing to be good, generous, or considerate. However, this perception is distorted because true guilt comes from the mistaken idea that we are responsible for the happiness or problems of others. When we learn to say no, the process of overcoming guilt begins with redefining our beliefs about what it means to be kind or supportive. Saying no does not mean being selfish or inconsiderate. On the contrary, it means respecting yourself and preserving your emotional balance. Guilt arises because, in our minds, we believe that the other person will be upset or disappointed. But in reality, people respect us more when they realize that we have autonomy over our own lives. Overcoming guilt also involves understanding that we cannot please everyone all the time, and that this does not make us less valuable or lovable. When we refuse something, we are not saying that the other person is less important, but only that our own needs and limits need to be recognized and respected. To overcome guilt, it is crucial to practice self-care and reaffirm that by protecting your own boundaries, you are creating a healthy environment for everyone around you. The constant practice of saying no makes this attitude more natural and liberating, because over time, you realize that you don't have to carry the responsibility for other people's happiness. In addition, by refusing assertively, you are helping to create more honest and balanced relationships where everyone has the chance to express their own boundaries. Now, think about it. What would your life be like if you were able to say no whenever necessary, without fear or guilt? Setting boundaries not only strengthens your position in the world, but also ensures that you are respected and valued. So, the next time someone tries to invade your boundaries, don't be afraid to say no, because in the end, you are the most important person in your own life. Only for the determined people who stayed until the end of this video, comment below, "I stayed until the end." That way, I'll know who really wants to take control of their life once and for all. Take care and see you in the next video.